this whole Russian thing with Trump, I mean, that more evidence is coming out that there was collusion. More evidence is coming out that there was cyber invasion on the election. We hear almost every day about Trump campaign staff meeting with Russian officials during the campaign.
Yep.
This is a threat to his. I mean, this could add up to impeachable offenses. Could add up to enough pressure to get him to resign.
Well, they have the House, though. I mean,
and here's a question. Well, that's the thing is he could still fuck up so tremendously that even the Republicans in the House and Senate have no choice but to do something about it.
Sorry.
That's all right. I just lost my train of thought.
It reminded me of a scene in Veep. Do you guys watch Veep?
Yeah. Which scene?
Where his cell phone goes off in the car.
Oh, I didn't see that.
The husband's watch.
Yeah. Love that show.
Very funny.
Oh, my God. Did you finish making
I didn't. I'm still trying
with my Occupy Live.
I'm still trying to figure out what I was going to say.
I was just trying to see what was happening in these big climate marches that are happening right now that I was supposed to be at, but instead I decided to serve my country by coming here and being on this show,
which we appreciate.
Very patriotic.
Well, thank you. We're talking about the increase in activism since Trump, and what specifically? Why don't you tell us a little bit more about the marches today and.
Well, I mean, I'm not the clearinghouse of information for this, but there's a giant one down in Long Beach at the port, and I think there are some others happening. I know there's others happening around the country. I'm not sure what else is happening in Los Angeles.
I know in Washington D.C. there's a big
one
march
in D.C.
and
and that's an important march to be on. I'm feeling some very deep liberal guilt that I'm not there, but yeah, I mean, this port in Long Beach, they're trying to expand this power plant down there that is polluting the air, and already the air in Long Beach is chewable. So, that's a good place to start. People are getting out for that. Big shout out to Mark and Mara heading down there.
We're not going to tell anybody you're not there, so don't worry.
Yeah, right. Now millions will know. The millions who listen to this podcast will know my shame.
Well, it's all right. This is a safe space. We can
Thank you.
we can admit our shortcomings here.
Yeah.
So here's a question just regarding the large number of protests, because it does seem like every Saturday
is a protest.
Is there any worry that we're going to reach a saturation point where it's another Saturday, another protest, and it basically quell my fears? Is fuck all being done?
No.
Are we seeing any results other than, hey, people are getting fired up?
People don't march and people don't protest because it's a sunny day. People march and protest because they're angry or they want redress.
Yeah.
And I was reading a piece just in the last couple of days. There's literally about 10 new organizations that have formed. The question has to be, the challenge as we get closer to 2018 is for them to organize themselves in a way to where they're able to start winning either on House seats or U.S. Senate seats, and even at the state legislative, now, for example, let me give you one thing that I'm doing that I think is really exciting. My organization, Social Security Works, wrote a resolution that opposes Trump on his policy ideas on Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. We got an author out of San Jose. His name is Ash Kalra. He's a freshman, and he took the resolution, and he's now it's called AJR 8, Assembly Joint Resolution 8, and its first hearing is on Wednesday morning in Sacramento, in front of the insurance
oh my God,
committee.
Ernie.
Sorry, thank you.
Jesus.
And those are baseball scores.
It's important. I know.
Good. I put it there for Carl, so he'll know what's going on. Anyway, so this resolution will move through both houses. We hope that it's bipartisan, but if it's not, it's fine because the Democratic majorities are really solid on it. it'll have two committees and then over to the assembly floor. And then here's the point. This will give the state of California a common sense of policy outcome that then members can use in their districts. They can say the state of California defends Social Security and defends Medicare and Medicaid.
Yeah.
Because those are the big social insurance programs that are so much at risk here.
Right.
So the point is that.
That's smart.
Thank you. The point is that these coalitions have got to coalesce in a way to where they're effective in 2018.
Yep.
The kinds of things we're doing right now in the California legislature, the firm statements made by the governor of California that he's going to defend, he's going to keep us from as much harm as he can, which he said on Meet the Press a week or two ago.
Not if he keeps raising taxes the way he is.
Well, he has to. He's got to fix the roads.
Yeah, well, right. You're taking it out of the people, though. They do have money that they could have used, but Jerry wants you out of your car, and he wants you on it there because of the problem. So
it works pretty good in this building.
Oh, okay.
And so the leadership in both the Assembly side and the State Senate side, the point being is that I think California is just one example of a way to mobilize to have some good results, and we could knock off almost all of those Republicans who had those margins I talked about earlier.
But looking at the larger issue, and you said earlier you're not going to win an election by changing the minds of Trump's base, and I get that. But I brought up the Bernie-crats, and I'm thinking specifically of people who, even after Bernie lost the primaries, were still banging the drum and preaching the anti-Hillary line. And anytime you try to explain to them how a two-party system works, and whatever, for the sake of just getting you to shut up for a second, let's say Jill Stein is great. She still doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell. It's a two-party system. So if you don't vote for Hillary, it is effectively a vote for Trump. Right. No. I'm saying in the last election. And these people would respond, well, stop trying to scare me.
Yeah.
And the idea, what I'm getting at is we're not going to change the Trump base's mind. But how do we bring the Bernie-crats back to reality to understand that, yes, I am not belittling your pie-in-the-sky dreams of what government should be doing, but we do have to look at it in terms of a framework of reality.
Well, I think Bernie's doing some great stuff.
No, I think Bernie is doing great stuff. I'm talking about his supporters, and not obviously not all of them. I voted for him in the primaries. I would have voted for him happily as a candidate for president. But I'm talking about the information-resistant people on the left, the people who. Well, number one,
they won't, and somebody else said this better, but they won't have Hillary to kick around anymore. And remember, they've been going after Hillary since Hillary Care back in 1994, 95, 96, when her husband was president.
Right.
There has never been a politician running for president that had more money spent against her in the previous 30 years before she ran for president than Hillary Clinton. And most of them were lies, okay? And most of them were I would believe to be criticisms that didn't have validity. Thank you.
Let me ask a question real quick. If you compare the amount of money spent against Hillary in those 30 years to the amount that Donald Trump has paid out in legal settlements, or at least the Trump Foundation on his behalf, are we getting close anywhere there? In terms of the same amount of money being spent against a candidate?
But he wasn't as much of a public figure as she was. All right?
No, agreed.
All right? So we ain't going to have Hillary, and I think it's a shame because I liked her, and I think she was the next Roosevelt. So I really think it's a tragic. I think it's a tragic loss. FDR and Eleanor. Okay?
And maybe a little Teddy.
Well, he just loses.
There's a little Teddy.
He loses the race at Nationals Park every time, which is really fun to watch. But I think the political number one, and let me go back to the Trump question. He's losing his own supporters. He promised those coal miners they get their jobs back. They'll never be back in those coal mines. He promised those unemployed people in those Midwestern states, in the Rust Belt, that they're going to have the same life they led. Not unless they're retrained, not unless they find another vocation. He simplified everything and made all these promises, and I believe there'll be erosion from the very place in which his base was. So a combination of that and a combination of the smart organizing that I see, and I think it's potential. I think 2018 has a lot of potential for us.
Well, here's a question going off, a big hypothetical, but since we talked about the threat of an impending nuclear war with North Korea, is it conceivable that the coal miners could be put to work digging fallout shelters for the 1%?
Yeah. They already have that. Didn't we establish this last week that they already have their underground city that they get to all live in like mole rats after we've
who's
been
going to
nuked?
expand that? Who's going to, who are the worker bees? Who are the drones?
Yeah.
That's how the coal miners are going to be put back to work. You dig?
I dig. Hey, listen, I have one question, though, about all this. Okay, we keep talking about 2018 and 2020 and building coalition for those elections. But, what about all these local elections that people are still not understanding and showing up for, I really feel like if one thing the Tea Party had right is that they went and worked really assiduously on a very, very local level to get people into the works that they
turning the marches into voter action.
Into voter action. And, our last L.A. election had a 17% turnout or 11%, something like that. How do we translate this into real, community coalition building?
That's very hard to do because people are not focused on community. Everyone is trying to survive day to day. It's very hard to get them to buy into a system of that. If you tell me if I come out and vote, this is going to change for me, when they're more focused on working every day, going to work every day, putting money and different things, and it's rush. There's no one even takes time out to take a walk, smell the flowers. You can't get them to it's on and on. I understand your point, and it should be that way, yes, but I don't see a lot of people even talking about it. And even having a conversation about it.
I'd like to semi-answer my own question because this was a thought I had a little bit earlier when you were talking, Ernie, about this and, these big actions and, rallies every weekend. Somebody needs to write this think piece. Like, what if these community actions, these big rallies, are giving people a sense of connection and purpose that we have been lacking in civic life, in spiritual life up until this point, right? Churches are fractured, communities are fractured, everybody's on the internet, nobody knows their neighbor, and here's an opportunity for people to get out among each other. I was thinking that when you were like, nobody goes out because it's a sunny day. And I maybe this is creating a sense of human community that we've been lacking, and maybe that's a momentum that'll build moving forward. Yeah.
The way to solve for me, and I personally experienced it because I was an activist in Santa Monica from 1973 to about 1999, and what we did in Santa Monica to a community that was basically run by the business and real estate mavens, so to speak, is we merged the local election with the state and national elections. So, and I remember the moment when we got that insight. We were getting our asses kicked in 1975 on a ballot measure to create 7 councilmanic districts in Santa Monica. And a guy named Richard Katz walked into our campaign office. Richard later won a seat in the assembly. And what he said to me and Ken Edwards, Ken later became the mayor of Santa Monica, he said, and my point is that in those days, the local election was odd year April. And there's less consciousness, oddly enough, about local stuff, particularly in a city, in an urban environment. So what